don't think this will come as a surprise to anybody. But when we experience a lot of stress, our stress can often turn to worry and fear. And when we're in worry and fear, we often feel a lot of stress. So this is the cycle that can happen. And when we're in that type of a loop, this can really tempt us to believe false stories. So we might be experiencing a lot of stress and because we're in a certain situation, but then, we start to go to that, what if this happens and what if that happens? And before you know it, we're in a circumstance that's much larger than what we're actually in. And this can cause a real worry loop. And I always like to read this quote: worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. And that's often what can happen when we're in worry and fear. What I want to say, though, is that worry and fear and the stress that we can experience from that and that loop and cycle that can happen, that is so normal for us to experience. We're all human, and we all have moments where we can really experience this. What can happen, though, is when we're in this cycle, so when we experience worry and fear, when we then experience stress, and that leads to more worry and fear, I can pretty much guarantee this for all of us. We never do our best thinking, and we never typically come from our best perspective when worry and fear is the dominant thinking in our heads and in our bodies. And the great news is that there are techniques that we can use to be able to manage our stress and therefore manage our worry and fear. And before I forget to say this, you'll get all the notes for everything I talk about today, as well as some resources that you can refer to. So let's talk about this first technique that we're going to do together. And just before we go into it, just a couple of words that I want to say. So as I was saying, when life brings us to a place where we might be feeling stress, and as a result of that stress, we can feel worry and fear. That worry and fear can also lead us to sometimes feeling a little anxious in our bodies. And one of the things that can happen is our thinking often gets hijacked, and we don't always do a very good job of working through our worry and fear and looking at what are some potential steps we can take to manage this. So as I said, when we're in that stress of it, it really has an impact on our thinking, and it can make us feel anxious in our bodies, and it can make us feel very tense. And as a result of that, we're not always in a good position to manage this. So one of the first techniques that I want to invite us to try is to try a breathing technique. And the point of this is to help to calm our bodies down, calm our thinking down, calm down that loop, so that we can be in a better place to look at the second technique that I'll take you into, where you can actually work through a worry and fear. So let's do this first exercise together. And here's what I want you to imagine with me. And what can be really helpful is if you're somewhere where you can just sit comfortably and just relax into a chair or a couch or wherever you might be. And if you prefer standing, you can do this if you're standing. If standing is your if that's more comfortable for you. And so again, what we're aiming to do in this technique is, as I said, when we're in that cycle of worry and fear, and our thinking isn't the best, and we're maybe looping, and our body becomes tense, and potentially we have those butterflies in our stomach, or we feel a little anxious. The gift that we can give to ourselves is to learn to calm ourselves. And breathing and learning a breathing technique can be one of the best things we can do. So what I want you to imagine and think about is there might be a worry or a fear that you're experiencing now. And may I say, it's helpful for the purpose of this exercise, not to maybe use a worry or fear that's really daunting for you. Like if you're in something right now that's, really, really significant and a little difficult, it might be better to take something that's a little lighter for the purpose of this exercise. And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine for a moment that you notice this stress, you notice the worry and fear come up, and you imagine a stop sign coming in front of you. And the stop sign is just saying, stop for a moment, let go for a moment, and breathe. And so in a moment, what we're going to do is, as you sit relaxed in a chair, or you're feeling more comfortable standing, you might be leaning against a wall comfortably as you're standing, is you can put your hands on your stomach if you want to. And I'll tell you the reason for that in a moment. Or you can just relax your hands, open hands on your legs or on your chair. And what I want you to do is I'm going to count into 3, and I want you to breathe in to the count of 3. Hold at the top, breathe out to the count of 3. Just let your breathing be easy. This doesn't need to be anything complicated. We just want to do the breathing. So when you're ready, you might even close your eyes if you feel comfortable. You don't have to. But I'm going to count to 3. And what I want you to do is breathe into the count of 3. So it's like you're taking 3 breaths in. So breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Hold. And let it out. 1, 2, 3. And just stop there for a moment. And here's what I want to invite. Just notice, as we've done that first breath, just notice how it feels in your body to feel that breathing go through your body, in your chest, in your back, all the way through to the bottom of your feet. Just notice what it feels to experience that breath, and that breath going through your body. And let's just do it one more time. And the reason I said you can put your hands on your stomach is that if you want to feel your stomach expand, knowing as you take the breath in, it just helps you feel your breathing. So again, we breathe into the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold at the top and breathe out. 1, 2, 3. And really push out any extra breath at the bottom there. And again, just notice what it feels like to allow that breath to go through your body, to just feel the difference of when there's that little bit of tension in your body to how when you breathe, it may be really, really subtle, but you just feel that letting go in your body.